AV Forum's CES 2024 coverage is sponsored by MPB, the largest global platform to buy, sell and trade used photo and video gear. Whether you're looking for the latest models at a third less than new, looking to sell your old gear to generate funds for that new camera, or just want to make more space by selling equipment you no longer need, mpb.com is the site to visit.
Hi, this is Phil Hinton. Welcome to another video on AV Forums from CES. Our coverage is brought to you by MPB. We're in the desert because CES is finished, but before the show actually finished, I managed to catch up with a company I've never heard before, but they were causing a bit of a commotion at the site, a little bit of interest coming from them. They're called Canvas HiFi, and basically they've developed a product which is not quite a soundbar, but it's also not quite a full-on hi-fi speaker. But what they're promising is luxury hi-fi sound from your TV and other sources, from a speaker that sits underneath your TV or can actually sit on the wall on its own. It has lots of different grille designs, so you can design it to fit your interior, and it promises really good sound. Now, I had a demonstration. I'm not going to spoil it. We're going to find out a little bit more about the product, and then I'll come back and tell you my thoughts. But let's hear from the company CEO, Kim. Kim, great to meet you. Who are Canvas HiFi? Who are you? Why are we here?
So we are here because we are a company who makes a hi-fi sound system for televisions. So the idea was, TVs got better and better and better, but the sound products that go with them didn't kind of evolve because somebody decided sound have to be a slim plastic tube with small little speaker drivers. And that's not really a recipe for high-end hi-fi sound. So my background is high-end speakers. And I was like, couldn't it be possible to make a sound system, that sounds like real hi-fi, but for television?
There are lots of products out there. What makes you different? What makes your approach different?
Well, it's designed and engineered like a high-end hi-fi speaker. So it's a rock-solid speaker enclosure, MDF, stuff filled with bracings. And then we have SB acoustic speaker drivers, a DSP crossover 4-channel amplifier. We have a room correction system, and we have a Bach 3D crosstalk cancellation system. And the combination of high-end speaker, room correction, and Bach 3D results in something that's as close as you're going to get to real hi-fi. We believe it is. That will be up to reviewers, of course.
So explain to me how it works.
So it works, well, room correction is pretty traditional, but it runs off of our app on smartphones. So you walk around with the phone in circles in the room's corners and it measures out. And for iPhone, this works with the internal microphone. If you use Android, we sell a microphone because those microphones vary so much. And so the Bach 3D is actually, you could call it a noise cancellation for the opposing ear. So because the left and right channels are so close to each other, if you have a guitar on the right side, because left and right speakers are only 1 meter apart, that guitar sound actually hits both of your ears, and then you can't hear in 3D. So what Bach is doing is like basically subtracting that guitar from your opposing ear. So it's kind of like putting a mattress from your nose to the speaker. So your right ear only hears the right speaker, and the left ear only hears the left speaker. You would get actually the exact same effect if you used a real mattress, because that's all it's doing. So you can put 2 speakers very close to each other, put a mattress between it, and you will hear real stereo imaging.
Yeah. So you said the iPhone microphone is good enough in terms of your measurements for the system. And is that the case? Is it detailed enough? Is there enough detail there for it?
We calibrate every year the microphones because they vary a little bit year over year, but there are only so many models, and that's why we can't do that with Android. It might be slightly better using our dedicated microphone. So if you want the absolute best, last 5%, you can buy that one. But we're close enough that I doubt many people could hear the difference.
Now, I've had a demonstration. I'll talk about it separately on camera, and people will get my opinion on it. But what is it that someone sitting in that seat will hear? Explain it to the end user.
Well, they will hear sound kind of like a real hi-fi system where the speakers are placed, 1 meter, 3 feet from the back wall, and like 2 meters or 6 feet between them. So you get depth, width, and height in the sound image, like you'd normally only get with freestanding speakers. And this can happen with the speaker straight on the floor, straight up against the wall, or straight on the wall. And that's very atypical because typically you cannot get anything like depth imaging, and we have that despite of the placement of the speaker.
One thing that I know that my users are going to ask in the comments section is, does it support Dolby Atmos? Does it support DTSX?
No.
Is it an immersive audio system? Maybe explain that a little bit.
So we don't have any surround decoding because we only have 2 speakers. We have a left and a right speaker, but we also only have 2 ears. And if you send the right cues into those ears, you can actually hear in 3D. And the lucky thing is, like, Dolby Atmos is actually binaural audio. So when you downmix 7 point whatever channels we have in Dolby Atmos to 2 channels, Bach 3D can actually unpack that, and you can get pretty much the same thing. It's not going to be the same as a full-fledged Dolby Atmos system with speakers everywhere, but probably as good as any soundbar when it comes to effect, but with a much higher sound quality, much higher audio fidelity.
And who is it that you're targeting out there? Who's your ideal customer at the end of the day?
I think people who used to have real hi-fi but not allowed to have it or don't want to have it anymore because it just, maybe they don't think it looks too nice, and we want to bring real hi-fi back into the living room, but in a design that's more acceptable to a broader range of people. The Bach technology we use is typically used in products that cost, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And that's one of the most praised technologies in high-end audio. And it's exactly the same thing we're using here, except when people typically use it, they use it with passive speakers, which are not great when it comes to phase response. So we actually, in many ways, exceed what you can obtain with passive speakers. We have from below 30 hertz in-room response, 30 hertz to 20 kilohertz, pretty flat. It's measured out in a clipple system, so it's not just by ear or anything. We also use ear, but we have a flat frequency response and flat power response, which is important, so it doesn't just sound great in one room and terrible in another room. We don't really talk about power output so much because if we compare with soundbars, you know, you can get a plastic Samsung and they say 800 watts. We could say that if we want to say that. We don't want to lie, so we just don't say it in specifics, you know. But it's in the hundreds of watts, but we don't want to put a number because it kind of talks it down. We can say that we can play louder and with more bass than a B&O that have 450 watts, real watts, RMS. And simply because we don't have as much power, but we have a much larger speaker enclosure and much larger drivers. So it's a more efficient system. So we can make more sound than Beovision Eclipse, for once.
So let's talk about the actual physical product. It's sitting behind you there. We'll have some insert shots that people watching the video will be able to see it in a lot more detail. But from a design aspect, we can change the front grille here. So maybe explain the thinking behind that.
Yeah, so the front grille sits with, I forgot now how many magnets I put in there, but I design and engineer everything in 3D. So there's a lot of neodymium magnets, and it's centered by the tweeters. So the tweeters are actually die-cast aluminum wave guides, and they integrate into the front grille. So to get optimal sound with this, you actually need to put the grille on, because the tweeters stick out, and that's not great. So people might think, oh, let's do like traditional hi-fi, take it off, you'll get better sound. That's not the case. But the idea is you can swap it out in 2 seconds. So we have 13 different finishes, and we have 4 different sizes to begin with: 55, 65, 75, and 77 inch. And it works both floor standing and wall mounted. So the plinth stand is actually at the same time a wall mount. You just spin it around 180 degrees and screw it onto the wall, and then it's a wall mount. So that was also a little bit difficult to come up with, but it's nice that it's not like an additional accessory.
And the design here, it's very much flush with the size of the screen. It looks like one unit, and that's on purpose, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. If you just have a gap a few centimeters, the illusion that it's like one thing, it goes away. And when I started working on this, putting the TV and the speaker together so it looks like one unit is like 2 + 2 no longer equals 4. It's like 7 or something. You know, you get rid of all the cables and 2 becomes 1. There's a big value in that. So it was also very difficult. Initially, it was designed for LG OLED TVs, and they have an IR receiver in the middle, but we don't know where it is on all other TVs. So we had to go in and redesign the front grille. So the whole front top of the front grille is IR transparent. So you can use like any TV and it won't disturb the remote control.
And the way that it sits here, there is a slight lean back on the way that you have it in the room, but people can adjust that and suit it to their room?
It's adjustable between 8.5 degrees back and up to 6 degrees. Of course, wall mounted is completely vertical.
So it sounds like you've thought of everything, Kim. So how does the end user actually fit the TV to the speaker, or the speaker to the TV?
Yeah, so the TV mounts on the speaker. So there's a universal mount that's depth adjustable, so we can always align exactly, the TV edge with the speaker. And we have 200, 300, and 400 millimeter VESA rows. And there's these VESA pin grabbers. So you basically, there's two things you screw onto the speaker. It's like a height adjustment tool. You just adjust the TV bracket to approximately the depth of the TV, then you set the TV down and it rests on those, and then you can fine tune everything and set the screws and everything. And from there on, if you want a wall mount, you can just lift the TV off and then put the speaker on the wall, lift the TV back on. Because once it's on the wall, you can't get in and adjust anything. So you have to make sure everything is perfectly aligned on the floor.
And in terms of cable management, I guess because it's all one unit, you can actually manage the cables behind.
Yes, the TV bracket is also like a room where we have a cover plate. So you can put streaming boxes like a One Connect from Samsung or Apple TV or whatever inside that room, together with a power strip and cables and everything. And we actually have a cable sock that comes with the product. So you can have just like one thick cable going to your wall. So if you have 2-3 cables, like antenna, other things coming in. Yeah, that's all included with the product.
Can I go out and buy this product anywhere in the world?
Yes, you can.
And is that through a dealer network, or is that via yourself online?
We sell it on our own web shop worldwide, and shipping and taxes are included in the price. So regardless if you live in US or Australia, wherever you are, it's the same price all over the world.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you that. How much will it cost me?
It starts at €3,000, including front, like you get everything. The only thing you have to add is basically your TV, and if you wall mount, screws for the wall, because we don't know what wall people have. So those are the only two things you need to add. Or no TV if you just want to use it as a HiFi system.
Well, that was my next question. It's quite a large speaker cabinet, and you've got the opportunity to add different grills to it. So I suppose you could have it just hanging on the wall itself.
Yes. We sell a solar version, so it's the same product, it just doesn't come with a TV mount. But you can place it on the floor, hang it on the wall or a bookshelf. Yeah.
Kim, it's an exciting product. I love CES because you find out about companies like yourself. It brings everybody together. It's been a great year this year. I think the busiest since 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
So it's great to find you, great to find the product. I'm really looking forward to spending some time with it.
Okay.
But best of luck here at
Thank
CES, and I hope it goes well for you.
Thank you so much.
So as you can see, it's an interesting product and an interesting proposition. Now, I did have a demonstration. Again, pinch of salt, because this is a manufacturer's demo, although I was able to choose some of the audio tracks and some of the film tracks that I wanted to view on the speaker and see what it sounded like. But I've got to say, it actually does what they say it's going to do, and that is produce a really wide, detailed soundstage, full frequency range there from 30 Hertz upwards. So really nice, prominent bass performance, no distortion, and again, effects placement and so on. It's just a 2-channel system, but it uses the back 3D system on there, the processing, and of course it's calibrated as well. And it gives you basically what I could describe as a nice wide soundstage, and it certainly really impressed me in terms of not only the design and the way that this fits into the living room, because a lot of us are thinking about how we live in our spaces, certainly since COVID and we locked down and we spent a lot more time in the home, and a lot of us have kind of reassessed how we going to have TV and sound in our living space. So this is a nice little solution. I've asked for a review sample. Hopefully we'll get one of those through in the next few weeks, and I can spend some time with it and actually give you my full thoughts. But in terms of an interesting side story here at CES, where a lot of our coverage is dominated by TV, I thought this was a really nice solution to certainly really improve the sound quality from your TV. Using the TV speakers is never really an option. So it gives you that full on sound quality for watching movies. It's not a surround system, it's not Dolby Atmos or DTS:X or anything like that. It doesn't promise anything like that. It's a 2-channel system, but the way that the technology works, the way that the noise cancelling to each ear works, really does give you that really nice, immersive, wide front soundstage. So stay tuned for a review. It's coming soon, and thank you very much for watching our coverage from CES this week. We'll see you in the next video.